Hey guys, it's Eric from Loyal Lab Electric and Generators. Today we're on site in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, working on a pretty big project. We're doing a service upgrade and a partial home rewire to eliminate some knob and tube. So come along with me and check it out. So like I said, we're here in Portsmouth working on a service upgrade. We've talked about it in a couple of our other videos. There's a lot of different reasons to upgrade. Sometimes it's age, condition, wear and tear, stuff like that. You can see it's in pretty decent shape. It's a little old, but it's not that bad. The problem here is that it's only 100 amps and they have plans in the future, mini splits, EV chargers, just things like that, that the 100 amp just can't handle anymore. So with the rewiring that they wanted to do and the other projects, their panel inside needed some work. So we decided to just do the whole thing so they could get it all done at once and not have to worry about it again in the future. So like I said, there's a lot of different reasons to upgrade your service. Over here off to the side, we've got our new 200 amp overhead service. The utility company here is responsible for doing the overhead drop portion, so we don't have to do anything on that today. All of our services come with new bonding and all that stuff. So this service is pretty much ready for inspection. So come on inside with me and I'll show you the inside stuff. So a lot of homes here in the Seacoast area are pretty old. It's an old part of the country, so this isn't anything that's uncommon. This customer bought this house a couple years ago. They suspected there was some knob and tube, but sometimes it can be hard to tell. Some of our other videos, we talked about how you can identify it from the type of the switch because they were used in a certain time period. But in this situation, somebody had done some updates in the home. They changed some lights. There's modern light fixtures. The switches were modern light switches. So from the outside, you couldn't really tell that it was knob and tube. It wasn't really until we started digging into some stuff in the basement that we were able to uncover some of the knob and tube, which ended up going kind of throughout the home. So it turned into a little bit of an invasive project to update all the knob and tube. So you can come with me. I'll show you where we found some of the knob and tube and we'll go from there. Most of the knob and tube in this property was isolated to the first and second floor, luckily. The first floor is usually the easiest to redo. The second floor and the third floor is when things get kind of challenging. One of our other videos, we talked about how we were able to rewire most of the home without making any additional holes. We don't always get that lucky, which is kind of like what happened here. So you may see some small holes we had to make throughout the home. There's going to be a company that comes in after us to patch those when we're all done. So one of the nice little surprises we found when we came to look at this home the first time was a hidden fuse box in this little panel back in here. This is pretty much what set off the search for us to go around and find all the other knob and tube, because there's some pretty clear indicators in there of knob and tube, like the fact that it's knob and tube. If you couldn't tell by now, we're down in another basement with Troy changing a panel. And this is not the same one as last time. This is a different one, I swear. He's down here working on the panel swap. The guys are outside working outside. The only thing you haven't got to see yet is the knob and tube removal. We jumped on that first, so it's pretty well good and done by now. But I just wanted to show you guys a little bit what it looks like in case you're wondering if you have it in your house. The challenge with knob and tube is, like I said earlier, it can be difficult to identify sometimes. A lot of times the knob and tube in the basement is just ungrounded Romex and it splices with knob and tube somewhere else in the wall. So the only way to tell if there is knob and tube in your house for sure is to have an electrician come look at it. But in the meantime, you can go down your basement, up in your attic and look around yourself, and I'll show you what to look for. This is where knob and tube gets its name. You've got your knob and you've got your tube. The tube is the insulator. It goes through the holes, so they would drill holes in the joists. They would slip these in as a little insulator, and then the conductor looked just like this. It would just run right through the tubes. The knobs were how they would make turns. So when they needed to turn the wire around, they would just nail this in, wrap it around, and change directions just like that. So that's how it got its name, knob and tube right there. The problem with that is, as you can tell, this is just a single wire. It doesn't have an outer jacket, so it's not really well insulated. Obviously, there's no ground either, which is a big issue, but the problem is over time, it gets really brittle, especially if they've been added onto and modified over the years. So you can see with this one, even with me just bending it, it just breaks a little bit. It's super brittle, so even the smallest little movement can cause it to break. And then what you're looking at is just the bare conductor. So it's a big hazard. If you live in this area, a lot of insurance companies require that you remove it in order to continue coverage. So it's really important that you have it assessed by a professional. All right, thanks for coming along on another service upgrade with us here in Portsmouth. If you think you may have knob and tube at your house, the best way to find out for sure is to call an electrician and have them come look for themselves. Thanks for watching. Hope you found it helpful.